Peace begins with people. People who care, who dare to act, who refuse to abandon hope for a better future. With that conviction, on December 21st, my team and I began a journey to witness what conflict looks like in the Democratic Republic of Congo, beyond headlines and political statements. What we encountered on the ground changed us and remind me again what it feels to live in war. On December 21st, at approximately 3 p.m., we departed from Angola to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The flight lasted just under an hour. By 4 p.m., we had landed in Kinshasa. But this was not a routine assignment. Our mission was clear and urgent: to see firsthand the situation on the ground and to understand what truly unfolded after the signing of the Washington Accord on December 4th, 2025 in Washington, D.C. An agreement I personally witnessed, an agreement concluded in the presence of African leaders.
Este conflito que não tem sentido e que finalmente e felizmente parece que terá o seu fim hoje aqui em Washington, D.C.
An agreement that promised to open a path toward peace in the Great Lakes region.
The compact we're signing today, which will be known as the Washington Accords, formalizes the terms agreed to in June, including a permanent ceasefire, the disarmament of non-state forces, provisions for refugees to return to their homes, and justice and accountability for those who have committed illegal atrocities.
17 days later, we were there to assess whether that promise was holding or unraveling.
To provide to the peoples of the region a new perspective, a new outlook, namely to finally overcome the cycle of violence, of forced displacement, of mistrust, defiance, in order to begin a new era of friendship, cooperation, and prosperity all shared together.
These accords provide everything needed to end this conflict once and for all. If this agreement falters and things do not work out, the responsibility will not lie with President Trump, but with ourselves.
We arrived with cautious hope, hoping to find a nation ready to turn the page on more than 3 decades of conflict, more than 30 years of instability, more than 6 million Congolese lives lost. We hope to witness the first signs of recovery, the fragile beginnings of peace. But the reality we encountered was devastating. What stood before us was not a country emerging from suffering. It was a people still living inside it. Just days after the signing of the Washington Accord, an agreement intended to restore stability to the Great Lakes region, violence resurfaced. The M23 rebel group, backed by Rwanda, launched an offensive and seized control of the city of Uvira in South Kivu province, Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. The promise of peace had barely begun to settle when it was shaken.
I thought that this time the agreement would be implemented, but in the end I found that it was all lies. They started the offensive 2 days before the signing of the agreement, and we found that the M23 could not advance unless the Rwandan army units were there.
Thousands of Congolese civilians fled in desperation. Families abandoned their homes. Children were carried across borders. Entire communities moved not by choice, but by survival. The peace accord on paper did not translate into safety on the ground.
2 days after the peace treaty, they invade again? Are you kidding me? I mean, that is such bad faith. They think we're not kidding. And that's why serious sanctions need to be levied on any bad actor, and that goes right to the very top if necessary. Generals, anybody else in the chain of command that is a part of it.
While peace was being signed in Washington, events on the ground suggested preparations for renewed conflict were already underway. The message of diplomacy contrasted sharply with the reality unfolding in eastern Congo, a story that raised urgent questions about commitment and credibility.
My question to you is when we will see the withdrawal of Rwanda's troops from DRC, and when we will see the real peace. The troop needs to withdraw from DRC. When we will see the withdrawal?
I think you're going to see very quick and very quickly. I think you're going to see things happen. This is something that was not doable, according to a lot of people, and not only is it doable, I think it's going to be a great miracle. These two gentlemen are leaders, they're great leaders, and they're going to prove that in the coming months and years. And I think you're going to see very immediate results. I have confidence that that's what's going to happen.
In Kinshasa, our first stop was the military hospital, where victims of the violence were being treated. There, the promised peace had not arrived. Malnourished children, young people bearing the marks of mutilation, women recounting acts of rape, abuse, and torture almost beyond comprehension. Many began arriving in the capital just 3 days after the agreement was signed. 3 days. Peace had barely been announced, and new victims were already filling hospital beds. Every face, every testimony reflected the enduring brutality of a conflict that refuses to end.
Please, we need help. We are suffering greatly from the war. Many people have died. Our children have died in large numbers. They keep dying. We want peace. All of us here need it. Peace must be restored in our land, in our country. We are suffering.
I came here to listen to you and understand what you're going through, so I can let the world know that this needs to stop. President Trump and President Tshisekedi are working together so the war can stop and you cannot suffer anymore. I really admire you all and the Congolese people. You are very strong. You are very resilient, because for over years, 30 years, you have been attacked and suffering, but you still stand and you still fighting for a better day. So soon everything will be okay. Just believe.
Thank you very much for receiving me.
Yes. During our time in Kinshasa, I met with several Congolese officials to examine what went wrong after the Washington Agreement. Among them was Honorable Shanila Mwanza, former member of Parliament of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Her assessment was direct and sobering. The security situation in eastern Congo remains deeply volatile, she said, driven by external interference, entrenched armed groups, and the continued illegal exploitation of natural resources. According to her, the root causes of instability were never fully dismantled, only temporarily paused.
I feel deep sorrow today, a very deep sorrow to see the situation currently unfolding in eastern Congo, particularly the human tragedies affecting women, children, and populations wandering across neighboring countries, as well as those who are displaced by war. I would simply like to call on everyone who can hear me to heed this alarm I am raising, to help the Democratic Republic of the Congo break out of this cycle of repeated violence that has lasted for years. My wish is to see the United States of America and the international community continue to apply pressure so that this war in the East comes to an end, and so that the people of the East may live in calm and peace, and begin the development of this eastern region, which is rich in precious and rare minerals, and which therefore has the potential to develop.
According to the former lawmaker, the roots of today's instability trace back to 1994, a turning point that triggered repeated cycles of violence and mass displacement. Before 1994, Congolese and Rwandans lived in perfect harmony as close neighbors. Many Rwandans attended school in Congo. There was no ethnic conflict at the time. However, following the 1994 Rwandan genocide, the United Nations asked Congo to open its borders to Rwandan refugees fleeing the genocide. The Rwandan government then decided to send troops into Congo, claiming that those responsible for the Rwandan genocide were hiding there. This conflict triggered the Congo War and created lasting tensions between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, tensions that continue to fuel current conflicts. Out of that prolonged insecurity emerged local self-defense militias, known as the Wazalendos. But once again, it is civilians who bear the heaviest burden. Displaced families, women subjected to sexual violence, children facing hunger, widespread and systematic human rights violations. Despite ongoing military operations and diplomatic initiatives led by the Congolese government, one conclusion remained clear. There is no purely military solution to this conflict.
Thank you very much for receiving.
Still in Kinshasa, I was briefed by the Congolese parliament, where representatives from the affected regions shared their accounts. Among them were the former governor of Uvira, members of the Eastern DRC Commission, and the President of Parliament. Each testimony reinforced the same message. The crisis in the East is not isolated. It is structural, persistent, and deeply rooted.
The DRC is a very peaceful country. And this is the irony of all this conflict. We have never attacked Rwanda. Never. In 30 years, never. Not even once. So we want peace. We understand that we should be the big brother in the region. And we should look after all these countries. We know Rwanda has issues to do with land, access to mineral resources, population issue. We don't have any problem with that. I grew up with Rwandese people in Eastern Congo. It's never been a problem. So what we want is lasting peace. If they need jobs, they can come and get jobs. If they want to invest in our mining sector, they can do it. Why should the Chinese come and put money into the mining sector and the Rwandese shouldn't? But they have to do it through the right channel, legally. Not killing and exploiting it in an illicit way, no. So we don't want illegal exploitation. We want to do open business with them, because we understand that we will be neighbors forever. We are not going to displace Rwanda and take it elsewhere. So our interest is peace, long-lasting peace and stability for the entire region.
Le risque nécessaire de faire sur l'expansion osait venir en juillet tard, même très tôt, à une guerre régionale. Parce que une fois installés dans les hauts plateaux, ils contrôlent directement au Djungurabo. Ils contrôlent aussi les pays voisins. Donc voilà les idées que je voulais alerter, préciser par rapport à ça.
On December 28th, we traveled to Burundi to visit 2 refugee camps now sheltering Congolese families displaced by the violence. Our objective was straightforward: to witness firsthand what those affected by the war are enduring, and to listen to their testimonies. Because beyond diplomatic statements and official briefings, the humanitarian crisis reveals itself in lived experience. And it is there, among the displaced, that the true magnitude of the crisis becomes impossible to ignore.
This is a very, very special mission. What we are trying to do here is to let the world know the humanitarian crisis that the DRC is going through because of this war. So we're gonna go to one of the biggest refugee camp where the women, children, men are going after fleeing the war in Goma, Kivu, and many areas affected by the war in Congo. So it's very important for everybody to understand why this war needs to end once for all.
In Burundi, we started the Gatumba Transit Camp, which we visited on December 30th. Approximately 6,000 Congolese refugees are living in extremely harsh conditions. Pregnant women, elderly men and women, children. They face daily battles against hunger, disease, and the absence of basic medical care. Survival here is not guaranteed. It is negotiated each day.
Tulikimbia kutoka Congo, watoto walitupotea, abwana walitupotea, na hivi hatujui biko wapi. Sai tunajikuta tuko Burundi, bakukufa balikufa ba mingi, tulipoteza mafamilia za mingi. Tunaomba amani, vita iishe, mtusaidie mumalize vita Kongo, turudie na sie Kongo, hakuna ingine msaada tunalomba.
We right away noticed the horrible conditions that the Congolese people that flee from the war are facing. No water, no shelter, no medication. There is a lot that the people are going through. Disease, people are dying even on the camps. And the biggest desire of this population is going back to their region. They want to go back to DRC. Since December 9, the people from Congo start arriving, thousands upon thousands upon thousands, and the capacity of this camp is only 20,000, but there are over 67,000 refugees, kids, pregnant women, giving birth, some of the kids dying in the camp because there is no shelter.
Ndenge tokimaka toyaka na batangi kote bayebobolo ezate donc tozo souffrir tala ndako batu bazolale.
Ce qui est à la base d'abord, c'est l'agression rwandaise. C'est ça. C'est parce que les Congolais fuient l'agression rwandaise. Ils sont tués, violés. Ils fuient la criminalité de l'armée rwandaise.
Ile mabombe yenye walikuwa wanatupa, ile njoo ilisababisha kweli tunatoka zaidi.
Kwa nilikuwa naishi jirani yangu, ndio walimkamata kwa kingo wakambaka.
Unaiona peke yako?
Wakati walimkutaka iko nje. Wakamwa jirani
wanani wamefanya
abo wa M23
bazo pasola mtu abati awa ati awa ba déplacer.
You can raise your voice to say stop, enough is enough, the war needs to end so these people can go back to their village in Uvira, in Goma, in Bukavu. They want to go back but they are afraid because of the M23.
Tunapenda kwanza amani. Kipindi wale wa M23 bangaki Kongo, amani ya Kongo. Mauaji yataendelea.
Bazo ngai bango na biso peto sikala pa biso.
What is most striking is that the opposite had been expected after the signing of the peace agreement. Instead of relief, violence escalated. Instead of stability, more lives were lost. Instead of families returning home, thousands were forced into exile. The promise of peace was immediate. Its reality was not.
Toujours nous demandons à la communauté internationale de pouvoir quand même voir comment est-ce qu'ils peuvent avoir la solution d'avoir la paix dans notre pays. Et si une fois les Congolais sont en train de souffrir, nous demandons toujours la paix dans notre pays. Nos mamans sont en train de souffrir, nos enfants, nos pères. C'est pourquoi, et d'autres personnes qui sont en train de mourir dans notre pays.
We just suffering here. We just passing life, which is not a good life. We regret what M23 is doing for us. We don't know what to do. That is why we are here to ask the international community, especially American, to condemn M23 for what he is doing for human rights. Really, we are suffering, we are under bad conditions. Thank you.
Sema tuko Wakongomani.
Thank you, Hariana.
On December 31st, I interviewed the president of Burundi, His Excellency Evariste Ndayishimiye, who had attended the signing of the Washington Agreement as an observer alongside other African leaders. During our conversation, his position was unequivocal. He stated that the United States carries a responsibility to help ensure the enforcement of an agreement that, according to regional leaders, has already been violated. For him, credibility, both regional and international, now depends on accountability.
The United States must be held responsible for its failure to comply with these agreements. As such, non-compliance undermines the trust and cooperation that these agreements were designed to establish. Holding the United States accountable is essential to ensure that the commitments made in these agreements are respected and that the intended goals of mutual understanding and collaboration are upheld. If today the international community were to approach the United States and ask why they failed to convince all the parties involved to actually implement the agreement, what kind of answer could the United States possibly give in response? What explanations or justifications might the United States offer to address such a direct and important question from the international community, considering the expectations and circumstances at hand?
Despite multiple public condemnations from Washington regarding alleged violations of the agreement by Rwanda, no decisive measures have yet halted the violence on the ground.
And the United States is profoundly concerned and incredibly disappointed with the renewed outbreak of violence in the eastern DRC. Kigali has been intimately involved in planning and executing the war in eastern DRC, providing military and political direction to M23 forces and AFC for years now. The Rwandan Defense Forces have provided materiel, logistics, and training support to M23, as well as fighting alongside M23 in DRC with roughly 5,000 to 7,000 troops as of early December. And in light of the commitments made in the Washington Accords, we are deeply concerned that the Rwandan military's continued presence in Congolese territory in support of M23, and we will use the tools at our disposal to hold to account spoilers to peace.
Something I say all the time is that we can't say we want relationships with Africa, but we're not engaging. We're not there to be a friend in a time of need. And so I'm happy that we're taking those steps. And now Congress needs to support and help those steps so we can make it a reality. If we're going to be world leaders, we have to be aggressive world leaders, and we have to be aggressively seeking peace. Right now, the agreement just seems like a piece of paper that's present, and no one's abiding by it. And that's where Congress steps in. I talked to you about the oversight. You know, if there are violations to this agreement, what is going to be the consequences? In Congress, we get to hold people accountable. And we keep demanding that you have women at the table, children at the table, organizations that are serving these people at the table, then we'll start to see success. But we have to ask ourselves, since this was signed, what does it mean to the child or the person working in the mines? What does it mean to the women who are sitting there in fear, who have been raped? What does it mean to the person who's actually fleeing their country because they're being intimidated? Right now it means nothing, because as they're signing in DC, they're still fighting. They're still intimidating.
The way to stop this is to hold the top leadership to account.
Which is who?
Rwanda, that would be Kagame and his people, and anyone in Tshisekedi's orbit that are doing wrong, and to do it now. Delay is denial for the person, the woman about to be raped, and the man or woman or child about to be slaughtered.
We'll make sure that you follow through. We'll make sure you follow through. We'll make sure that you follow through.
It is also worth recalling that prior to the signing of the accord, Donald Trump had warned that serious consequences would follow if the peace agreement were breached.
Mr. President, can you share with us what can happen if one of the parts violate this peace agreement?
I'd rather not say. I would just say that there are big penalties if they violate, and they're not going to. I don't think they will violate. I think they mean it, but we have very severe penalties, financial and otherwise.
Today, questions remain about enforcement and about the gap between diplomatic commitments and realities unfolding in the region.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rwanda just violates the peace agreement. What are you going to do about it? You told me last time that there will be consequences. They continue to kill a lot of Congolese people in DRC.
Take a look at it. Why isn't the FBI meeting us? I heard about it.
On January 1st, 2026, we traveled to Busuma, the largest refugee camp in Burundi.
We just arrived, and as you can see, this is the biggest refugee camp here in Burundi.
More than 65,000 Congolese refugees are now sheltering there. In less than a week, over 90 people reportedly died due to the lack of adequate food, shelter, and medical care.
We have many problems. Some refugees have many problems. We want now assistance only. Thank you very much.
Burials carried out without dignity, children dying quietly, families fractured by displacement. What struck me most was what many refugees kept repeating. They want to return home to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, despite the suffering, despite the destruction.
Here we are in the difficulties. There's many difficulties. We can't eat, we have no lodges, we have nothing. So, if possible, I say, to return back in our country, it is the first idea for us.
Do you know what Donald Trump, the President of the United States, is working with Tshisekedi to end the war? Do you know?
I know that, but he must do it very, very fast to enter, to return in our country.
But returning is not an option. The presence of the M23 rebel group in their communities has made going back impossible. And so they remain, suspended between a home they cannot reach and a refuge that cannot sustain them.
From Bujumbura to Uvira, it's 10 minutes. So we know what is happening in Uvira. They have not left, because if they had left, the citizens would need security. The Congolese forces would have occupied Uvira. That is the proof. I say, to know if they've left Uvira, the FARDC should come and secure the population, because the population needs security. Are the FARDC now ensuring the security of the citizens? So it's a lie, because there is another force there.
baliingia Goma, wanaua watu, kuweka ndani ya masaki, kutupa ndani ya maji. Banatoka Goma, bana viole ba mama, ba petite sœur, kuua batu ovyo, kuchukua hata biungo ya mwili ya batu wanapeleka kwenda kuuzisha. Banatoka kunivo ya Bukavu, mali ya pale Bukavu banaingiza Rwanda. Mena bakakania bakasema kwamba bakiingia kunivo ya Uvira batamaliza batu. C'est pour cela leo sisi tunakimbia mpaka kufika kunivo ya hapa. Tunakimbia. Mauaji ilikuwa ni ya mingi. Mpaka sasa hivi watu biko wanakufa. Haijulikani idadi. Bakukufa ndani ya maji, bakukufa kuzikwa kwenye masaki, wanatupa mu maji. Na mali kuiba kila siku. Na mpaka hivi tunakaa kujikuta tunakimbia kwa nchi ya Burundi. Tunashukuru nchi ya Burundi imetupokea. Kwa sababu kama mtu anakupokea ni jirani mzuri.
Seeing the video and seeing the reality of it, there's no way you can see that and be comfortable and go home sleep at night and think that this imaginary accord is going to fix that. Once you see and you understand the people who are suffering, it makes you get up and want to fight for them. And that's what we have to keep doing, having these hearings, putting together legislation to hold people accountable. And at the end, I do think that as long as we're having these conversations, as long as we have an administration that has the will, and you have members of Congress who will put down their petty fighting and say we need to do this for not just the American people, but we're actually doing to stabilize and influence the continent, I think we'll get there.
All of this is unfolding despite the Washington Accord, an agreement meant to end violence, yet the suffering continues.
Because the war started on Friday, we fled to Burundi. After that, we arrived in Burundi and were received there. Then we were taken to a place called Hotere. After Hotere, we arrived here in Kitenga. But there are no services helping us here. Until now, we have no water, no food, and no homes. We are being struck by diseases, infections, and other illnesses. There are no toilets or proper sanitation either. What we need now is help, food and water. We also need medicines because many people are dying. Too many people are dying. At least 40 people per day. We are deeply saddened by the number of deaths we are witnessing.
Meanwhile, Burundi is facing unprecedented humanitarian pressure. In December 2025 alone, nearly 90,000 refugees crossed into the country, adding to the tens of thousands already living in fragile and overcrowded conditions. A nation with limited resources is now absorbing the consequences of a conflict beyond its borders.
The DRC and Burundi, we share the same history. This means that if the DRC suffers, Burundi suffers as well. So what I'm saying is that the international community must get involved to force Rwanda to accept the path to peace.
In the face of this human tragedy, one question echoes through the refugee camps. How long will the world continue to watch? Each day without meaningful action carries consequences. Children, women, entire families, lives suspended in uncertainty. As the mediator of the Washington Agreement, the United States holds a significant diplomatic responsibility in this process, a responsibility tied not only to political credibility, but to human lives. Calls for stronger enforcement, increased pressure on armed actors, and the withdrawal of M23, because every delay deepens the crisis, every inaction prolongs the suffering. The Congolese people cannot wait any longer.